It's west of Everest. I'm Lee Benson. He is Grant Benson. The college football regular season is over, and we still have a lot to talk about. Coming up on the show, we read your three-word reviews from the OU win over LSU. The penultimate college football playoff rankings have been released, and the committee has slotted the Sooners once again at number 8. We'll talk about some potential playoff matchups for Oklahoma. Plus, it's National Signing Day. Maybe some thoughts on that. You all know this is not a recruiting podcast. And finally, we'll, of course, look ahead to Conference Championship weekend and make some picks. Now, West of Everest is available wherever you get your podcast. I've seen that most of you listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, by the way. But hey, we're also on video on YouTube. Just search for us, West of Everest on YouTube. You can also watch us on Spotify. And by the way, we have 90 subscribers on YouTube right now. So thank you to everyone who listens to the show and has subscribed on YouTube. I know a couple of you have commented and said nice things like, hey, good to see a video portion of the show. So if other people out there are listening and want to see us on video, go to YouTube. It'd be nice if we could get that number up, and maybe let's try to get it to at least 100 by the time we know who Oklahoma's playing in the college football playoff. But otherwise, it's up to you guys. We just appreciate anybody listening to the show, and thank you for all the support of the last, 8 or 9 years, whatever the math has been. All right. Grant, what's going on? I see you've made it home. You made it back to Minnesota after the Thanksgiving weekend.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I'm just hanging out in the ether. Just hanging out in the ether. I'm not here. No, I'm here. No, it'd be nice for the YouTube subscribers. It'd be nice if we get that up to about 90 to 100,000. That would be sweet. So we know the numbers are there. So if you just go ahead and hit that subscribe button,
honestly,
we'll get there. Just
if you get us to if you get us to 100,000, we might have to consider quitting our jobs and just making this a full-time gig. And you guys can get more West of Everest if you want it. So find 100,000 of your closest friends and get it going.
Nobody wants that. Like us talking about it, because man, that'd be a lot of time that we'd have to fill. We'd have to talk about stuff that's not OU football, which I guess sometimes we do like to do, but
not till the end.
Not till the end. Not to the end, but who can say?
Let's do some 3-word reviews. Let's knock those out. We skipped those on the last post-game podcast because, well, we didn't have a game to preview this week, so we figured we had some extra time and let those 3-word reviews marinate. So we'll go to the West of Everest Facebook page, and let's see. I'm going to sort this by, let's go all comments. First one is from longtime listener Michael. Michael says, can't win pretty, getting it done, and also he says, be better, Mateer. Now, of course, most of these 3-word reviews we're going to be reading came right after the game. And if you would have asked me right after the game about John Mateer, I would have probably been just like shoulder shrug, kind of like, probably didn't play all that well. But of course, on the benefit of rewatch, you and I, we rewatched the game. I know that you thought Mateer played pretty well, like better than most people thought after the game immediately. I didn't quite think that, but upon my rewatch, I definitely thought that Mateer played a little bit better than maybe most people thought. Curious if any of our listeners went back and rewatched the game and have the same feelings, or maybe feels a little bit. It's not like he's not a Heisman winner or anything like that, but it was not as bad, I think, as it might have felt in the stadium. But it's still like it wasn't like good or anything. It wasn't like great.
No, it definitely wasn't great, but they were able to competently move the ball through the air, like over pretty decent portions of the game, against maybe the best pass defense, best pass secondary, best pass defense, maybe the best secondary in the SEC. And so I think just in that context, I think he did pretty well. And yeah, the 2 of the 3 picks were heinous. They're awful. The 2 second half picks were dreadful. I'm not going to hide behind that at all, but there's we really saw them have sort of like intermediary downfield success for the first time since September, for the most part. And so I think if you want to take one thing offensively that you can say that they built some confidence and maybe going in, after a few weeks off, getting a little bit healthy, going into a playoff game, maybe they can start hitting on some of those passes. And back in September, when you and I were feeling really good about the team, kind of what we saw, offensively it was uneven. You know, they at times struggled to move it against Illinois State and Temple and Kent State. That was with Michael Hawkins. But the one thing that we kind of kept going back to was sort of like on third down and like when they really need to have it, like their passing game in high leverage situations was really good. Like they were they were definitely making some plays in that regard. And I really think against LSU we saw that for the first time since September. So I'm not saying, and like their offense is still not good. It's not.
No.
But I think we did see them come to life a little bit more than I think some people are willing to give them credit for.
Let's keep it on the West of Everest Facebook page. Longtime listener, Mankey. Mankey's usually pretty critical. So let's see what his 3-word reviews are. He says, first one, he says, LSU curse broken, question mark. And yeah, I mean, we got to watch Oklahoma beat LSU. I mean, we have never seen that in our lifetime. So it would have been nice if they would have won by more points, considering they were not playing in LSU was playing in a hostile territory for the first time against OU in a while. But yeah, so that was a good one. Also from Mankey says, winning ugly counts. And also he says, Mateer hates us. Also he says 15 touchdowns allowed. That's for the full season. So the defense has only allowed 15 touchdowns, huh?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I think if you would have, beginning of the season, and like, the offense is a lot worse than I thought it was going to be this year. It's much closer to last year than they were, even to like, I don't know, like trying to think of, gosh, I can't even think of like when was the last time they had like bad offenses. I don't know, like the 2014 team's offense wasn't great, but it was a lot better than this one. I was like Samaje Perine and everything, and so I think this offense is closer to last year than it is even like those 13 and 14 teams. But I don't know, there's still just something about them that I don't think they're dead and buried quite yet. I think there's something, and I'm not saying that this is like a slam dunk or anything, but I think in a playoff scenario, I think there is hope that they will be competitive on offense against like some of these teams that they could play. I don't think that's crazy to have like a glimmer of hope of that.
Yeah, I don't either. And lastly, Mankey says that the defense has 4 games allowing just 1 touchdown and 4 games allowing no touchdowns. So that's, yeah, I mean, the defense has been great. James says, this is good. James says, rather lose pretty? Question, like everyone's, they're winning, they're winning. It's like, would you rather be losing the game but putting up 50 points? And yeah, I mean, I'd rather Oklahoma be winning these games. So also, yeah, really hot, super hot take. James also says 10-2, be happy, grimy winning games, and James also says OU fans spoiled. Now, I have a bit of a problem with that one, considering that 2 of the last 3 years OU's been under 500, James. So, but in the sense that I guess I don't know. I'm guessing James is. I don't want to speak for you, James, but based on context clues, I'm guessing based on you said 10-2, be happy. OU's 10-2, and there's people in the OU fan base that are complaining about the offense. Would like maybe John Mateer. Some people thought he should have been benched in that game. Some people are like, go to the portal, find a new quarterback. And my thing of, if you're going to say OU fans are spoiled right now, they should be spoiled. They're spoiled in the sense that, like I said last show at the very end, this team was supposed to be 7-5 or 8-4 at best, with everything going right, 9-3, and that we thought the offense would be way better. And so at 10-2, the way I watch these, it's like, yeah, this is great. Enjoy it, man. Like OU was not supposed to be here, so no reason to really complain that hard about any certain small things, in my opinion.
No, I mean I'm like, listen, if they host a playoff game, I expect them to win that game. They're hosting a playoff game, win that game. But it's not like I'm going to be like, oh, this is a failure or anything like that. No, I'm happy. This is a good season. And yeah, the offense is not what I want it to look like, but it's been fun. I'm glad. I much prefer winning to losing. And like, hey, like the whole outgain stuff, I get it. Like I think I don't think, even if you ask Brent Venables, I think he would say it's like, yeah, I would prefer, or I think he would at least concede that how they won against Alabama, that's going to be pretty difficult to replicate on a consistent basis. The Tennessee game, we were there in person. OU is better than Tennessee. They just are. And so there was another thing you said. Oh yeah, the whole. I think we touched on this in our post game, but kind of the people who wanted Mateer benched against LSU. I'm just not anywhere close to where you're at. And guys, Michael Hawkins is not good. He's not good. OU has a bad backup situation right now. Michael Hawkins was not going to drive them down the field to score in the second half against that defense. That was not going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. It's
and I saw, and there was like some former players and stuff like on Twitter saying that and I'm you guys are crazy. You're crazy. It's a bad take. Just a bad take.
Yeah,
period.
I mean, there's no way to prove or disprove it. It's all an opinion. But this is where your years of just watching football and understanding how football works and seeing lots of Michael Hawkins. I mean, we've seen a lot of them.
We've seen plenty of him.
We've seen a ton of them. And anyways, no need to pile on the guy. He's just not that good of a player right now.
And none of that is to say that like Mateer is like even good.
Oh, right.
That's
right.
not nobody's like that's not even the argument I'm making. It's that, he's if they're going to move the ball on offense, it's going to be because of him.
All right, longtime listener Skip says defense is strong, offense is poop duty. Yep. Also says 10-2 is glorious. Ned says, Ned's, I know he's been listening for a while. He says another gritty win. Gonzo Strangelove with his classic 3-word reviews and tons of information. I'm sorry, I'm reading it as I. If you want to read Gonzo's thoughts, go to the West Survivors Facebook page, but I'll read his 3-word reviews. It says, dominant defense delivers. I like the alliteration. Nice. Mateer's mental misfires. I know that Gonzo's been very critical of Mateer, which is fair, as he has not been as good as we thought he'd be. Also, Gonzo says, dumb it down, and there's just too many options. They're asking Mateer to do too much, probably. RPOs and whatnot. And lastly, I'll say secondary steadily strengthened. Another good alliteration. And so Gonzo's seeing the same thing we are, that the secondary has been playing just really good football at the time they need to be when they were getting tested the most. I mean, not by Missouri and by LSU, but by some of the best passing teams that they faced all year. And I hope that continues into the playoff because they're going to need them. And the secondary is. Hey, when was the last time I complained about Robert Spears Jennings biting up and letting a guy get behind him? Been a while. Guy's doing his job. Guy's playing good football.
Defense is just it's just nails right now, and they've to me it's just the secondary has just gotten a lot better over the course of November. I think there's dudes who are you got a guy like Guillory who is like finally he's played double-digit games now at this level. He's seeing good players. And Eli Bowen in his second year of playing, the second half of the season, he's gotten healthy and everything's just gotten better. And Jacoby J. And like maybe it's one of those like cliche things where like they genuinely not only are they playing better in the games, what if it's just like what if the level of competition has been raised like in practice and whatnot? And what if Jacoby J is like a huge beneficiary of that? And he's just kind of, and I mean, that's what they talk about. That's all a cliche, but the defense is nasty. It's a nasty defense. There's situations like in a playoff scenario where I could see them kind of bleeding some yards and giving up some points and whatnot. But I'm just like, you give this OU offense, if they can give them a lead and you can kind of pin your ears back and start to, I don't think anybody wants to face that. Nobody.
Now they can only get OU's defense to stop giving up. I guess they didn't really do much against LSU, but like that end of first half drive against Missouri, that was just like, come on, man. Like, but I mean, that's not happening a whole lot. Next on the West of Everest Facebook page, Vincent. Vincent says other team busts and enjoyed meeting you. So we got a chance to meet Vincent at the tailgate on Saturday. Great to meet you as well, sir. Thank you for listening. Great to talk to you. The fact that you reached out and like wanted to meet us and talk to us and say so many nice things about the show, that's super cool. And just wanted to reiterate, thank you and appreciate you actually spending time to listen to the show.
Yeah, it's really nice to meet you. Nice to meet you and some members of your family as well. So, just a good time all in all.
And got a W. All right, Robert says, see, Robert's not on the John Mateer train, says anyone but Mateer. Robert, you're entitled to your opinion, but I don't know, man. Says he's consistently inconsistent. Robert also says, cheers to Venables. Venables, all the right in the world to be very happy right now. Also, Robert says, replace Murray now. Where is Tatum? Hey, I'm with you, man. I know people are like, he's going to fumble. So they need healthy bodies. I think he's got talent.
He's not a thing. That's where he is. Like we saw it in the game. They are playing Jade Knott over Taylor Tatum. Tells you everything you need to know about Taylor Tatum standing with this tackle football team.
Maybe your Taylor Tatum portal prediction was just a year too early. Robert also says, why is O-line decimated? Good question. I mean, found out, Michael had like a virus. He was in the hospital and everything, and then that's not great. Hopefully that's a weekly thing and he can be healthy and get good. And I got to give credit to, who was it on the Patreon, the Through the Keyhole podcast? There's either Matt or one of the guys, I think, gave a lot of credit to Fabechi Wee-Woo, and we didn't really talk much about Wee-Woo. And I mean, that's a good point. I mean, coming in, changing position over to play center, and hadn't played center at all in college, from what I think was what I heard. And I didn't even think about the center all day. So best compliment you can give him. So yeah, I think speaking of the offensive line being decimated, at least Fabechi Wee-Woo was able to fill into a spot he's not used to, and for, I guess, played well.
And offensive line as a whole, I mean, they have not been super healthy this season. They've been healthier in the second half or the second portion of the season for sure. But no matter who's been out there this year, they've been rock solid in pass pro, which this is 2025. Being good in pass pro is by far the most important thing that an offensive line can be good at. And like I think there was I know, like on Gabe and Teddy's podcast, maybe they said it on Scoop too, about just like, if you had to, like, what does Oklahoma's offense do well? And that's one thing that I will say. They pass protect well. They're good at it. Period.
Hopefully John can continue to get more and more comfortable in the pocket, not walk into sacks and move in and all that fun stuff. All right, Philip, longtime listener, Philip says 6-7 is less than 10-2, referencing the OU's record the last couple of years. Steve says, just win, baby. Shelly says 3 interceptions, unacceptable. Yeah, it's not great. And yet Oklahoma still overcame it. I'll say if Mateer throws 3 picks in the playoff game, they probably ain't going to win that one. That's another game, Grant, that you probably can't replicate that type of win. Turning it over that much.
No, and it came as luckily in a game you're going against an offense that is, actually I'm not sure. I'm not sure whose offense is worse, theirs or South Carolina's, but it's close.
Kentucky?
They're both bad.
Kentucky had to have a bad offense this year too.
I don't think it was as bad as LSU or South Carolina's, because when Kentucky switched to the Cutter Boley guy, they kind of started to move the ball a lot better.
All right. Oh, we got some Debbie Downers coming up here, but you know what? We're never mad about that on the West of Everest Facebook page. Jake says, first round to exit. But hey, you know what? You may be right, Jake. You may be right, but making the playoff is a big deal. It's a successful year, but we'll see. Tim says, top transfer quarterback, ? I haven't even looked at who's going to be in the transfer portal at quarterback this year. It's just, I know I'm far from the first person to bring this up, but just the relationship between Arbuckle and Mateer makes me feel like it's incredibly unlikely that they would try to find somebody in the portal. But
I think as of right now, the biggest name right now that's expected to be in there would be Sam Levitt.
Oh yeah, interesting.
But that's not even confirmed yet. I think that's just speculation at this point, just based off of, I think, the feelers that him and his camp have put out there. But yeah, I don't, I guess I wouldn't want to fully 100% shut the door on it. Like, what if the top guy in the portal like reaches out to you and says, I want to come here? Then
yeah,
what do you do? But nah, I mean, I think you're better off. And then and they were talking about this on Through the Keyhole as well, but like, you got to start thinking about this is a professional sport now. Budgets and money that you're paying is a big part of this equation, and you may have Mateer on a bargain right now, relatively speaking.
Maybe. All right, we're almost done on the West Beavers Facebook page. Shane says ugly wins continue. Also, quarterback weakest link, and offensive changes needed. Shane says he's happy with the win, but there's no way the team can win a championship playing offense like this. You may be correct. C. Randy Park says ugly is beautiful. Also, bless Mom Bowen. That's a good one. How about that? The Bowens are great. Also, Venables haters disappear. So, yeah, I mean, let's see if Vinny can put together back-to-back good seasons. I mean, that's the next test for him. I mean, honestly, I'll say this. I mean, it's a very small sample size, but the pattern right now has been pretty consistent. The pattern is Oklahoma's going to lose their first game and go 10-3 because 6-7, 10-3, 6-7, 10-3 again. I mean, again, small sample size, but still, I mean, the pattern's on pace to be exactly what it is. And then next season, Venables will have a chance to break it, hopefully in a good way. Tracy says offense still sucks. Chris says has the GIF from the Green Mile that says "I'm tired, boss." And then lastly, James says he has to. This is he puts Matt Austin's name as one. He says Matt Austin is terrible, just off the top rope at the ESPN rules guy.
Guy's an idiot, bad at his job. I mean, he's a former official, so that makes him default bad at his job. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still your take about that being a good call on PJ is an epically bad take, but it's okay.
Oh, you want to get into it because it's not.
I don't.
I'm correct, and I can tell you why I'm correct. And I mean, you're wrong about it, but
I understand your position. You cannot tackle a quarterback to the ground in football anymore. I understand your position.
Okay.
Yes.
Nope. The main thing is I actually did a lot of research on it, and there's several plays that are just like that one, similar, that are flagged, and there are some that aren't flagged. So if you want to be mad that it got flagged because you've seen it not get flagged before, fine. But if it would not have been flagged, that would have been a break for Oklahoma because by the letter of the law, that's roughing the passer. So, and I've seen lots of other teams go through it, and not all the fan bases hate it too, just the same way everyone was mad about that, but doesn't mean that it was a bad call. I even saw a game from 2021 when OSU played Texas, and Texas got screwed twice in the game. By once, it should have been called, and it wasn't. And then later in the game, Spencer Sanders got sacked by Texas, and they threw the flag on the same kind of hit. So on one play, Malcolm Rodriguez got away with one, and then Texas got flagged for it. So it happens to everybody, is the point. It's not just OU. I can go into more detail if you'd like, but
I don't care. Bad call.
Let's go to the 3-word reviews on Twitter X. Brett Wright says, BV wins close. Brett also says, I feel this was a game pre-BV era that OU would have lost 100%. Felt like this game was doomed after that missed pass interference. They found a way in the fourth to win that game with the season on the line. I'm so proud of this gritty team. I mean, it's a cliche in sports, but learning how to win is a thing. I mean, and a lot of that comes with belief. You got to be really good. But Oklahoma's clearly very confident that they're going to win these games. I mean, they've beaten teams that they weren't supposed to beat. Granted, they lost to a team. Honestly, they lost to 2 teams that they probably weren't supposed to lose to this year based on the point spread. The Texas one was like close to a pick 'em, but yeah, learning how to win is a thing, but the thing is, all the teams that they're going to be playing in the playoff are like all those teams know how to win as well. So, who knows how to win more? Lou says early playoff exit, but he also says great season nonetheless. And hyped for post game. Okay, hyped for our post game podcast. Nice. Longtime listener Josh says Mateer is bad. Trash the RPO and Peyton Bowen. Bang. Let's see. Harry says 10-win season. Nice. Nate says ugly but alive. OU Boom says Arbuckle must adjust. And lastly, our main man Tiger Mayfield's back. Tiger Mayfield says too many turnovers. LSU Monkey gone. And then lastly, Satania is incredible. What did he end up? He ended up pretty high up in the
He's
receiving
second in the
yards
SEC in receiving. So
That's
I wonder
a
if
good
that
player.
means, is he a first team all conference guy? He's not gonna be first team all conference. But probably he'll be on one of the teams, I would guess.
Let's see how many.
I believe Chris Brazzell led the SEC in receiving, and Satania is tied, I believe, with Brennan Thompson for second in the conference.
Brennan Thompson, how about that? Satania is Satania and Brennan Thompson have the exact same amount of receiving yards. I'm seeing.
That's what I just said.
I thought you said he was behind Brennan Thompson. Wait, so
No, I said he's right. He's just tied with Brennan Thompson. They have the same.
So Chris Brazzell is the leader, you said?
Yeah, and I honestly, like, I'm gonna throw it out there. I think Satania should be the first team all SEC receiver just because of how, like, OU's offense in the second half of the season would be like dead without him. He's like almost the entire offense.
Yeah, him and Thompson are tied for 19th in the country in receiving yards. How about that? Not bad.
A good season. Really good year for him.
All right, guys, thank you for the 3-word reviews. That is all from the LSU OU game. Before we move on to the playoff rankings, we have to do this. We're way overdue on something that we should have done a while ago. And I want to say thank you and provide a shout out to Dr. Christian Davis. And Christian's in Denver. He's the husband of our cousin. And we've been reliably informed that Christian, that you still listen to the show, despite Christian went to Kansas State for undergrad. He went to KU for medical school. And from what I understand, not interested really at all in Oklahoma football yet. still listens to the show. And maybe you are now. Maybe he is now after all this time. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and say thanks for listening. I don't know if there's anybody else out there that listens to the show somewhat regularly that doesn't have a whole lot of a vested interest in OU football. So thanks, Christian.
Thanks, Christian. You know ball, man. Obviously, he just knows ball. Thanks, Doc.
Wish we could have seen you. Yeah, wish we could have seen you on Thanksgiving. All right, so hopefully you continue listening after that because we have tons more awesome show to get to. College football playoff rankings, Grant. And, OU's been 8 almost, ever since the Alabama game, I think?
Which was only 3 weeks ago. It's not like that was a ton of time ago.
Hey,
in fact, that was actually just 2 weeks ago. How is that even real? Well, two and a half now.
In game?
2.5.
You talking about games and stuff? Yeah.
Talk about like actual, there hasn't been a bye week.
2 games ago.
Yeah, but the game ended 2.5 weeks ago on a Saturday evening. That's what I'm saying. What? It wasn't that long ago. It feels like it was forever ago.
Oh, wow. I guess, yeah. November 15th.
There hasn't been a bye week. They played Missouri the week after Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly 1 week. It was between Tennessee and Bama. They had their bye.
It's kind of weird to think. I mean, the only game I missed in the last month was the Bama game. I think I've been to almost all. That's crazy. I've been to 4 of the last 5 games.
Yeah, I was kind of reflecting on that too. You went to I wasn't at the Missouri game, but I
was at Ole Miss.
Was able to successfully reverse the me being an Iowa curse of them playing at home against a ranked SEC opponent against Missouri, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I was of 2 of the 4 games here in this November run I was at, which is always fun. I didn't go to any games last year. I'm glad that I was able to get to them this year.
All right, the playoff. So what about this? I'll say for me, the thing that was surprised, I did not think A&M would drop as far as A&M did. I thought A&M they'd switch spots with Georgia, and then they'd see what happened. But they dropped. I mean, even below Ole Miss. So the more I thought about it, and this is probably not that hot of a take, but is this a situation where the committee kind of in a way, obviously they lose to Texas. Texas is a good team, but they're kind of after the fact punishing A&M for that near loss to South Carolina a couple of weeks ago that they should have lost? Maybe that's part of this too.
I think it's probably the totality of a lot of things. And obviously, I mean, I think they think highly of their win at Notre Dame. But a big part of it is Texas A&M played the easiest SEC schedule. They played one team in the top half of the conference. They lost by double digits. It's that simple. And I think, like, whatever metrics they use, game control or whatever, which is another just fancy way of saying SP plus and FPI. That's what that means. Texas A&M is not, is kind of near the back half of the top 10. They're like 8th or 9th in like both of those. And it's not like they've, playing the easiest SEC schedule. They didn't necessarily dominate their competition. I know they absolutely worked LSU and Baton Rouge. But as far as SEC games, that was pretty much it. Other than that, they were kind of Mississippi State.
Missouri.
They did smoke Missouri. That was a good win.
But that was also with Missouri with Zollers, who was terrible, and A&M had 2 defensive touchdowns in that game.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's mostly what it is. I think the totality of their resume is not. It's a good. Obviously, it's good. I mean, it's good. They're 11-1. They're 7th in the country, so it's not a bad one. But I think if you go all of the teams ahead of them, you can point to like some pretty impressive wins. Whereas A&M's one really, really impressive win happened 3 months ago.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know why I thought that. Okay, it must have been against a different. It was, I think, Mississippi State. They had multiple defensive touchdowns. My mistake. It was not against Missouri. So they beat Missouri pretty badly without really much of the help of Missouri's backup third string quarterback being bad. But yeah, I mean, your point's taken. Their schedule certainly was a little softer than some of the other SEC schedules out there. So A&M dropping. I mean, Ole Miss, the whole idea of Ole Miss potentially taking a hit with Lane Kiffin leaving, clearly that didn't come to fruition. So Ole Miss up to 6. So OU at 8 and Bama at 9. And the thing is, like, Bama's not gonna end up at 9. I mean, they're
no.
I
mean, they might. They might.
Actually,
we can't say that they won't.
Okay, no, I take it back. Yeah, if they lose the SEC title game, they shouldn't move. They should just stick right there.
But here's the deal. This is where, and we haven't really had any instances this year where I'm going off on the committee like I typically would around this time of year. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I've been able to talk about the committee. Their big issue is Alabama should have been ahead of Notre Dame the entire time. Notre Dame never should have been above Alabama. And so I have seen some people theorizing, and because the committee plays Calvin ball, they make up the rules as they go along. But I think I've seen people theorize this, and I buy it, that in this instance they had to move Alabama up above Notre Dame because there is no way that they're going to move Alabama out of the bracket if they lose the SEC championship game. It's not going to happen. And so they had to move Alabama ahead of them this time around so they can justify keeping them in if and when they lose to Georgia. And that just shows you that and the whole thing is stupid. It's all really, really dumb. And the fact that it's like that consideration is even happening, I think is really silly. But yeah, you're right. I don't think we can say that there's no way that Alabama stays at 9. Like we don't really know necessarily. So, but I mean, I do know Alabama just has a much stronger resume than Notre Dame, and should have been ahead of them the entirety of the time, even or after they lost to Oklahoma. So right now it's if I'm looking at everything, and who knows, like if Alabama goes out, let's say just for the sake of argument, Georgia wins by 5 touchdowns. Maybe they knock Bama out of the bracket. I would tend to say that they shouldn't do that because that's an extra game that nobody else is being exposed to. So I think right now you got a situation where this, outside of the G5 champ or whoever wins the ACC, we know what the field is going to be. It's going to be, if Virginia wins, Virginia will be in. It's going to be the winner of North Texas and Tulane. They are definitely in as like the top G5 representation. I think if Duke beats Virginia, I think there's a world where James Madison gets in as well. I'll believe that one when I see it. But I think right now, the final at-large spot, and I don't even, in this instance, it wouldn't even be an at-large spot, at-large spot, but it's between Notre Dame and BYU. That's what it is. If BYU wins, if BYU beats Texas Tech, Notre Dame is out of the bracket. They are not going to be in the playoff. And I think that is what like the committee, I think, with this week's rankings and bumping Alabama ahead of them, like are trying to send that message that Notre Dame is the team that's in danger here of being left out. OU is solid. I've gone through my head numerous times of like, is there any scenario where they're bumped out? And I do not think that there is. Because BYU is the only like the only bid stealer that is out there that would theoretically threaten Oklahoma. But OU is already 2 spots ahead of Notre Dame. So
yeah. OU's in. They ain't
OU's
going
in.
anywhere.
They're in.
They're in. And just to be clear, and on the Alabama thing, when I was saying, oh, they're going to move, I was just, no, you're right. Like if Alabama loses to Georgia, I think they should stay right there at number 9. That because you can't punish a team for playing an extra game like that you brought up. But if Alabama wins, it's interesting to see where they go because they're going to jump OU. They're going to obviously go above Oklahoma for winning the SEC championship game. And then it just comes down to seeding and things like that. So then let's see, BYU. If BYU beats Texas Tech, because Texas Tech's going to be in, to your point.
I think Texas Tech is in for sure no matter what. Yeah.
Yes. So, the question is, where does BYU jump up to? Like, how high do they jump? I don't think they would put BYU. They wouldn't put. I don't think they put BYU above Alabama. So therefore, they wouldn't put up BYU above. Well, if Alabama loses,
if Alabama loses the SEC championship game, BYU will definitely be above Alabama. It'll then after that be about. Yeah, it'll be about does BYU jump Oklahoma and Texas Tech? Because I could see a scenario where BYU beats Texas Tech, but they don't jump Texas Tech. I could see that if they do it like know, I can hear him say it, like the totality of their resumes, because Texas Tech has been utterly dominant this season.
And they've already beaten BYU, so they would have split for the season. So
yeah, but I think that's kind of where you're at, and so like I went through, I tried my best to game out all of like the realistic matchups that OU could play in this game. And I think the cleanest, the most straightforward is that just all of the favorites win on Saturday. And in that case, OU is going to be hosting a playoff game if all of the favorites win. And they're going to be playing either Notre Dame or Alabama at home. That kind of seems to be.
Well, what about the scenario, and this is kind of what I was trying to get to, and I lost it, but now I got it back. What about the scenario of BYU, as the odds makers have it set, BYU losing to Texas Tech? Okay, granted, do you dock BYU for playing the extra game? You probably shouldn't. So honestly,
BYU's out right now. BYU's not in.
Okay, but what I'm getting at though is, and I've heard other people brought this up, and you can't really. Would they dock BYU and move up Miami a spot? Because if Miami is right there with Notre Dame, how do you not put Miami above Notre Dame for head-to-head?
If BYU wins the Big 12 championship game, they are in. They are the last team in.
I'm talking about if BYU loses to Texas Tech, like they're probably going to lose. Do you dock BYU for playing the extra game and losing, therefore moving up Miami a spot for not playing, and therefore you have Notre Dame and Miami back-to-back, and therefore they're pretty close in the rankings, okay. So then you got to put Miami ahead of. I mean, they should already be ahead of them anyways right now because they head-to-head. So then is there a scenario where they finally, at the very end, the committee's like, all right, fine, we're going to honor the head-to-head, and then Miami gets in?
Maybe. I think in that scenario, I think it would have to be like a thumping. Like, I mean, it'd have to be like Texas Tech wins like 42-3. And it's just like you. But like I think right now, I think a lot of people on the committee are hoping that BYU just wins. Because then it totally just takes away the Notre Dame and Miami problem. I know a really easy way to just take away the Notre Dame and Miami problem right now. It should be BYU in and not Notre Dame or Miami. Both Notre Dame and Miami should both be out. And I've like, and it's like what I mean at this point in time, it's like you're splitting hairs, right? But And like I think that would be the best for all parties. Notre Dame's lesson is stop being stupid, join a freaking conference. That's their number one lesson. And Miami's lesson is, like I've joked around with my friends, disband football. You effing nerds, get out of here. Nobody likes you. But also, but with Miami, it's you play in a joke power conference, and you lost at home to Louisville when they didn't even have like their best players on offense. Nobody to blame but yourself. But I do agree with you. Because if it was me, if I was the emperor lord of college football, I would get rid of this problem, and I would just have BYU in the field right now, and we'd be all set. And because Notre Dame and Miami played easy schedules, they did.
Well, I mean, so did BYU. I mean,
I think BYU played a more challenging schedule than Notre Dame and Miami. And I think like if you want to, I think Notre Dame handled their schedule better than put all three of those teams together. I think Notre Dame handled their schedule the best of all those three teams. But I think that's kind of a BS metric. It's like it's subjective and stupid.
No, I mean, their schedules are probably somewhat comparable, but I think Notre Dame, I mean, by the virtue of the fact that Notre Dame played those two tough opponents at the start, and they also played USC, and randomly Pitt was ranked too. I mean, Colorado's bad. West Virginia's bad. Arizona's not very good this year. They got better as the season went on.
Arizona went 9-3. There's like the Big 12 is not great, but the Big 12 has a lot of teams between like 40 and 20, like in a lot of the metrics. And that's like, those aren't automatic wins. Whereas like Notre Dame and Miami have played some dogs.
They have. Well, I mean, the Notre Dame Miami problem shouldn't be a problem to begin with, because Miami should just be above Notre Dame. And then there's nothing to complain. I mean, it's easy, and they literally play. They have the same record. They basically both play in the ACC. Miami's ahead. So like the fact that they have Notre Dame ahead makes it controversial and unnecessarily puts a bullseye on the committee. I mean, it's just like, what are you guys doing?
And I think listen, I'm gonna I think if they played tomorrow, I think I'd take Notre Dame by 2 scores, probably. I think Notre Dame's better than Miami, but that doesn't matter. Like I think
matter a lick.
Even now, 25 years later, I think Florida State was probably better than Oklahoma in 2000. Didn't matter. OU won. 2003, Oklahoma was better than LSU. You had to play a road game. They lost. It's stuff happens sometimes. We play the games for a reason. And so, I don't know. I would, if you're forcing me to pick between Miami and Notre Dame, to me, it's not even a debate. It's about as easy as it possibly can get. They played, and also Notre Dame and Miami have a lot of common opponents too.
They do.
Like they've played really
they both
similar
basically
schedules.
play in the same conference.
And there's and Miami has blown out all of the same teams that Notre Dame has blown out. So it's just it's all just very silly. I do not and also just the Notre Dame versus Miami talking point this year has been so boring. I just don't. It's so just. Oh.
Well, and something that we've only had the post-game show and then this show, and then I mean that's very big right now. And you know me, I don't care that much about all the national stuff as much as I used to, but it's impossible not to see a lot of the stuff that's coming out, and some national people that are for whatever reason Oklahoma is in their sights as the team that should not be in there when it's Miami, Notre Dame, and it makes me think are you I literally don't understand, because these are adult people that some of which are older than us and have watched college football longer than you and I, and probably would consider themselves experts in college football. I think you and I technically are experts in college football. That's certainly when it comes to OU, and so is everyone listening to the show. Everyone that listens to the show are experts in OU football. But the whole argument why OU was even involved in any sort of debate of whether or not they should be in, I literally do not understand where that comes from, just based off of how this whole thing works.
I think it's like, are you referencing, because I think, like on social media, on Twitter, like kind of the guy who has just been clowning himself the last few days is the Bear,
The
Chris
Bear,
Chris
yeah.
Felica,
I'm mainly talking
whatever.
about the Bear, yeah.
And I mean, he's a Miami grad, so that's like a big part of it. And I don't. It's as simple as these freaking nerds. They look at SP Plus and FPI and see OU as 13th and 15th respectively, and they're like, oh, that's the lowest ranked of all of these at-large teams that we're considering. Boom, they should be the ones not in. Completely ignoring the fact that OU and Alabama have played the 11th and 12th most difficult schedules in college football. Nobody else, even in the playoff field, is even like in the 20s. Like it's like the next toughest schedule is like Georgia, like in the 30s. And you went 10-2, and they went 3-0 on true road games in the SEC. Like, this isn't even like, it's not. It's has nothing to do with Oklahoma. Like, Oklahoma's and you can tell the committee has OU solidly in. They are the highest ranked 2-loss team because their resume and what they've accomplished this year is completely undeniable.
Yeah, and if you're a Miami guy, as apparently the Bear is, why isn't just every complaint towards Notre Dame? Because that's it. That's the argument. Notre Dame should not be ranked ahead of Miami. It makes no sense to take aim at any other team. That's the one where you actually have the argument. You have the winning argument for that one. Anything else, doesn't make any sense to me, and just makes me kind of scratch my head. And like, how is this? How does this come out publicly?
Like Joel Klatt's been a big one who is like, oh, you shouldn't be in.
Yeah.
Ralph Russo is one who has said that it should they should kick OU out and put Notre Dame and Miami both in. I'm gonna tell you, I just Miami should be in over Notre Dame. Miami should not be the team that you are like. I would love to play Miami in the first round of the playoff. Like, that's the team that like everyone would want to play in the first round.
Yeah, hopefully all of this talk is something that OU can use for extra. I mean, they're, of all the teams that are solidly in, that are not group of five, whatever teams, I mean, their odds are like to win it all are crazy bad. I mean, like, insane. Like, it gets down to, I guess, would it be Alabama, the top. Alabama's 1 through 9, Alabama's 9. Of the 8 of the 9 schools, I don't have it in front of me, but basically 8 of the 9 schools before Oklahoma, their odds are something like like plus 300 or plus 200 for like really good teams like Ohio State. Some of them are like plus 600. And you get plus 1100, and then you get to OU and it's like plus 6,500. It just takes off. It's like, it's like yes, like OU's odds should not be good, but that much different than, like, honestly, Oregon's or Ole Miss's, or like, I mean, come on, it's like, you ain't gonna win the national championship. That's very unlikely to happen. But anyway, that doesn't matter. I mean,
but also,
whatever,
I think, but also, like, I would not pick them to win to win the Natty here. I'm not even sure if I'm going to pick them to win a first round playoff game. But kind of seems a little crazy for a team that could very well have the best unit in the entire playoff.
See, and it's not like this isn't Iowa making the playoff. This is a souped up version of Iowa that has actually won against a lot of really good teams that I would never beat, and has an offense that is not good, but it's much better than any of those really good Iowa defensive teams. I mean, that's not really what you want to be. You don't want to be souped up Iowa. I get it, but
no, a not good offense. But like I said, have, based on like the rhetoric that you hear about OU's offense right now, I think you'd be surprised to see, if you go back and watch the games, that against a bunch of really good defenses, they've been super competitive. And that's why I haven't been able to jump to like the conclusion of, they're awful on offense. Because that's just not what they pass protect too well to be awful on offense. So
I mean, the
I
one
don't know. The whole
game they
thing is
were. I mean, Texas was obviously their worst showing, and then
that was the one. Just they were bad, but also I'm okay. But like OU has a Texas problem right now, just big time. Like and I think Texas just plays above their head in that game, and they have for a really long time, as I as I detailed exhaustively on this podcast earlier this year. So, anyway, I just it's still good to get invited to the party, which they are going to get invited to the party. Which it'll be official just in a handful of days here on Sunday after the conference championship Saturday. Part of me does want to, just because it's fun, like nobody's gonna, and I know by Sunday we're gonna actually have like a real bracket that we can actually like look at and say like, oh, do they have a path here or something like that. But I'm gonna before I go on and just talk about kind of some more of their like realistic matchups in the first round. What I do want to say there is a scenario where that I do think that OU could have like a really nice, juicy, favorable run to like at least the national championship game. They play a home game in the first round. It's I think against whoever they play, either Notre Dame or Alabama, I think it would be in that scenario if they're hosting a home game. Oh, that's probably either going to be a pick 'em or OU I think is going to be a short underdog. But here's the one thing that I look at. Indiana beats Ohio State on Saturday. Indiana is going to be the number 1 seed. And I know you love SIG, and I know we both think that Indiana is like a great. They're really good. That is, they have the second best odds to win the national championship for a reason. They're a wagon. They're awesome. Would it really shock you if OU were to play Indiana in the Rose Bowl, which is where it would be? Would it really shock you if we were watching that game and Indiana could not block Oklahoma?
no.
And then
I mean,
after that,
yeah. Honestly, it would. Well, I mean, like not. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
because there's been teams. I mean, Alabama couldn't block Oklahoma really. So, and then that would be in that game they'd be on the side of the bracket of the 4 and 5 team, which I think odds like the most likely 4-5 teams are going to be Texas Tech and Oregon. What if Texas Tech wins that game? Oh, you playing Texas Tech in a semifinal? Would it shock you if those two teams played and Texas Tech couldn't block Oklahoma? I don't think so. In fact, I think that'd be likely. It's
Yeah.
doable. It's a narrow path, but it's there.
Yeah. No, it's sure. Yeah. I mean, and yeah, I think they play Notre Dame. If OU hosts Notre Dame, I would bet the line would be something like Notre Dame -2.5 or -3. Maybe even bigger than that, depending on how much they want to pump up Notre Dame. And honestly, it might go up because people might just be everyone hates Oklahoma, so they might just all the public might be jumping on OU or Notre Dame. I think it's Alabama. I think Bama would be. I mean, it was what Bama by 6.5. I think in Tuscaloosa, 6.5 in Tuscaloosa. So in Norman, it'd probably be Bama 3.5. I bet 3.5. It's probably what I would guess.
Maybe.
I don't think it would be. It'd be kind of surprising to me if it was under 3.
And I'm also thinking of like other scenarios of like, okay, like because I think, even if they're at home, I'm not necessarily sure. Like, I don't really have any interest in playing Alabama again. I mean, if that's who they're lined up against, then that's what you got to do. But I'd prefer. And one thing that I wanted to look this up before we started, but wonder if there's anything in there about them wanting to avoid rematches in the first round. Because let's say that nothing changes with this bracket going into Sunday, like after whatever. Are they really like the only 2 watchable first round games are going to be rematches? Like, would they actually do that?
I'm looking at the website right now. There's in the format and everything about the 12 team. There is a bullet point that says the college football playoff bracket will follow the selection committee's rankings with no modifications made to avoid rematches between teams that may have played during the regular season or are from the same conference.
Okay, so they wouldn't. But that was like my first thought of looking at the bracket on Tuesday night was woof. That is like because I kind of have this little inkling of a feeling that Duke is going to end up beating Virginia. And even if Virginia wins, no one wants to watch Virginia go into Autzen Stadium and lose by 40, which is what would happen. So, although I think if North Texas wins, which I tend to think that they will, I think whoever they play would probably be a pretty entertaining game because North Texas's offense is like genuinely really good. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to play Alabama. So I do think there is a scenario, and like this is not that crazy. Alabama wins on Saturday. Texas Tech wins. I think OU's probably going to College Station to play Texas A&M in the first round.
Wait,
Wouldn't
say
that be
again?
interesting?
What's the scenario?
Bama has to win. Bama and Tech win on Saturday. Because then you would the assumption is that Alabama would jump Oklahoma because they'd be the SEC champions. And Texas A&M is 7, so everybody would move back 1. There you go.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
OU going on the road. I think by far, like my head, I was trying to go through everything. I was trying to find any sort of scenario where Oklahoma plays BYU in the first round, which would be the dream scenario for OU. And the only thing I could come up with is Georgia wins on Saturday over Alabama. BYU would obviously have to win the Big 12. And I think it would have to be like an overtime game, like really close, like razor's edge. And BYU does not jump Texas Tech in the rankings, which I don't think a lot of people are like pricing that in that maybe that's possible, but I think it would be possible. Then number 9 Oklahoma goes to number 8 BYU playing in Provo in the first round. And I think we would all feel very, very confident with this defense against a true freshman quarterback at BYU.
The stakes a little different than the last time they played there a couple of years ago. Yeah.
And then also, but what if, let's say Alabama wins, BYU also wins. And let's say BYU wins like in a pretty like impressive fashion, and they also jump Texas Tech. But what if they were to do that and also jump Ole Miss? That could be number 10 Oklahoma versus number 7 Ole Miss. Or I'm sorry, number 7 BYU. So I do think by far the most likely scenario is that OU is going to be at home hosting against Notre Dame or Alabama, or they're going to go on the road and play Texas A&M. I think those are the 3 most likely games.
All right. Well, I don't really have any predictions on it. We'll see what it is. But yeah, it'd be kind of wild if there's a couple of rematches in the first round. And I know that some people, I get the argument of this, and I just don't buy it. I don't think they're going to be thinking of television ratings when they put these together because
that's not
people are going to watch no matter like it. It's just
the rematch is like
in.
Alabama and Oklahoma is like the 4th most watched college football game this season so far. Like it's going to get, they got like 10.5 million viewers 2.5 weeks ago. Alabama and OU play, which would be the Saturday night game of that first playoff weekend. I mean, it's 15, 16 million people are going to watch that game. Like that's a lot of people are going to watch. But
well, nah, probably not. Because the Saturday, those 3, the NFL has games too that day.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about the NFL. It's lame. The NFL needs to like, I get it. They would never like give up like their market dominance, but come on, like be partners in this for just like a little bit.
Yeah, it'd be worth thinking about how that could. I mean, because NFL's done the Saturday games, pretty much for the longest time after
it's been like
the college regular season.
I feel like it's been
ends.
for like 15 or so years now. They've been doing it. It's been a while.
Oh, I think it's been longer than that. I mean, it's been. I think we could probably look it up, but yeah, because like once college football stops playing all their games on Saturdays, they've kind of we'll put 2 games or so on Saturday to get you, but yeah, that'll definitely take away from the ratings on that Saturday because I think there's at least one game because I know the Bears and the Packers are playing, and there might be
I mean that was
one.
a thing. That was a thing last year too, where the ratings for the college games were neutered a little bit because the NFL is on at the same time, and
yeah.
So I do think the nightmare scenario is, and this would happen this would have to happen. BYU and Alabama would have to win. I think there is like a very narrow scenario where they got to go to Autzen and play Oregon in the first round. That would be no bueno from my perspective.
It could exercise a lot of demons, though. Give them an opportunity.
Exercise those demons for, yeah.
Sorry. So we have to force our friend Brady Trantham to go to that game. Brady, you must go back. You have to go back, Brady, to Eugene. He was there at the Oregon OU game in 2006. I was on a bus going to a fall baseball game. What was I doing with my life? I don't know.
You were doing what you had to do. You were playing baseball. Is what it is. I was watching that game at home and was yelling at the television screen. I was very upset. And I was yelling at it because I thought they just screwed up, because I thought Oregon just touched the ball, which they did, before it went 10 yards. I didn't even know until like 3 hours later that Alan Patrick actually recovered the fumble. Crazy.
Still to this day, it's wild, and whatever, he's a kid, but the fact that Alan Patrick didn't literally walk over to every ref with the ball and he had it and then just kind of walked away and didn't really make a show of it. I mean, would it have mattered? I don't know, but I don't think the refs knew. They clearly didn't know where the ball was.
Yeah, I find that hilarious too, where there's like, I'm not conspiracy guy at all. I'm not conspiracy guy at all. But that is one scenario where there may have been some sort of fix going on there.
Well, because all the refs got disciplined, right? Didn't they get taken off of for the rest of the season or something? They were suspended.
Because I still remember it's like the ball squirts out, Patrick recovers it, and there's just the jackwagon ref who is on the pile, and then he just signals Oregon's ball. He didn't see anything.
Isn't there a still photo of Patrick with the ball, and there's a ref that's signaling the other way?
Famous picture. Yeah. He's just holding it up while there's the huge pile, and that stupid ref is on top of the pile, looking for everything. He's like, you didn't see a ball? How did you?
Yeah.
Anyway, fun times.
Lee, National Signing Day, huh?
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you go ahead and give me your top 5 impact signings on signing day?
No, I can't. Sorry. All I saw is that it's another back-to-back kind of underwhelming recruiting class in the rankings. But it's all good though, right? Because next year's class is not supposedly number 1, but
off to a really good start. How about this? I didn't know this until I just looked this up today, because I've never been less interested in recruiting in my life right now. It's just doesn't move the needle for me at all. But how about your boy Lincoln Riley at USC having the number 1 class?
Wild. Now, how much of this is the fact? Look at the number. He's got almost 40 guys in this class.
Yeah,
that's got to be
it's. I think if you go by, I'm sure if you go by average player rating, they're not there. But I mean, they have a really good class. But yeah, I was kind of going through. I mean, there's and I'm going through OU's class, and I recognize the names of all of these guys, because when they get commits and stuff, I see all of that. But the one thing that stuck out to me, the one thing I just could not get over while I was watching it, you see the Jandreau brothers out of Arizona. I think they're out of the same high school as Spencer Rattler, and those two guys look just as weird as Spencer Rattler. Have you ever seen a person who his entire upper from the shoulders up, it's just all neck?
I think so, yeah.
And those are those two guys. Those guys just it's hard to see where the neck ends and the chin begins, if you know what I mean. It is just so.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Hot signing day analysis from Grant at West of Everest.
Yeah, I'm seeing right now on 247 Composite that OU's at 15 in the national rankings, and last year I believe they were at 17 or 18. I'd forgotten that they were that low a season ago. So, and that was after a few years of Venables doing really, getting top 10 classes, and Yeah, it's fallen off a bit. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm just it's happening right in the middle. I mean, they're going to make the playoffs. I mean, there's so many. It's kind of like whenever they released all that stadium news a few weeks ago in the middle of the season. It's like, how about you just save a lot of this? I mean, you can't save the recruiting stuff because that's the college football calendar. But I mean, I just how about you save stuff for the incredibly long off season when there's nothing to talk about? I mean, unless the
We talked
idea for
about the
that was no, like unless the idea behind that was to get it out there and then just have it be buried after OU hopefully wins a game and everyone just kind of
yeah, I
moves
was gonna
on
say
to the
maybe
next thing.
they knew that it wasn't going to be super popular with the plebes, so they got it out there to announce it, and so hopefully that people just kind of forget about it. Um,
Maybe.
yeah, I don't think we've talked about that on there. I'm like, yeah, not to disappoint anybody. I don't really have any super strong thoughts about the stadium stuff. Like I would prefer not to be bleeding like attendance numbers on there. Like them going under 80,000, I don't think is super ideal. But also like they need to put like and maybe I'm just stupid. I'm like not an engineer, so I don't know. But I'm like, whatever. They're going down to like 78,000. Like that's fine or whatever. Just put a canopy over the stadium and it'll trap in the sound and it'll be way louder anyway. Like they need to make that as part of like their like they should be thinking about how can we make this place louder.
I also do not have any strong thoughts on that whole story. I I just don't. I don't. I mean, maybe it's because I'm jaded because I've gone to based on my old job. I've gone to a lot of OU games just for work and stuff, and so maybe there's fans out there that don't get to go, and or they've gone for a long time, and now maybe they won't get to go anymore. So I suppose I sympathize with that a little bit. But I've never
People
had
who
season
are
tickets with the exception of when I was a student, and I don't really anticipate getting season tickets. They're expensive, and like they're going to be expensive. So it's yeah. I mean, if you want a ticket to the game, you're going to find a ticket to the game. That's kind of the way. I mean, yeah, you might have to pay a little bit more, but so that's kind of why I just don't. Yeah, I don't have
yeah, I guess
super
like
strong thoughts about it.
people who have I guess I don't know like families who have had season tickets like in those spots for generations or whatever who are being pushed out. Like I feel bad for them. Like they didn't do anything wrong. That shouldn't be happening. But there's also like and I guess I'm not sure like if you're grandfathered in, like if you've had it for a long time, do you pay like less money or whatever? I'm not sure, but um part of this like to me when I read that and I was just like, yeah, I mean this is very obvious. They're doing this. They're trying to raise revenue. They're trying to get bigwig people to pay a lot of money for those seats so that they can pay the players, which is what the sport is going to right now. And it's just another hit for all of the idiots who always said there's plenty of money to pay the players. And we're saying that like 15 years ago. No idea what they were talking about, like at all.
I mean, I think there is, but I mean, there's a lot of money to be made. I mean, and if you can make it another way, and that's kind of guaranteed. I mean, you don't have to go and hat in hand and asking for help to all the big donors. If you can just get it based on revenue, and you have the whole, I'm sure they've done all the models and to where they think whatever they're going to charge for, it's going to end up making them more money in the long run. So, yeah, yeah, it's interesting whenever there's some stories out there where it seems like everybody has an opinion on it, and then you and I, I'm just constantly. I mean, figure like one of us would have a strong opinion, but okay, and that's probably why we haven't talked about it on the show yet because I honestly haven't even thought about it until just the reason why it came up 5 minutes ago. We were talking. I can't remember why we're talking about it. To be honest with you.
Yeah. Again, like I said, if you're one of the people who have had those seats for a long time and you're getting pushed out and and it's essentially like, yeah, no, we'll relocate you for more money or something like
Mhm.
that. Yeah, that sucks. Like I feel
Yeah,
bad
it's
for you. Like
no,
it's not a
yeah, it's not great.
and I don't think that's fair. There's a lot of things in life that aren't fair.
Yeah.
Not to be that guy, not to be that like life is unfair guy because it's an uninteresting take, but the right takes are not always interesting, unfortunately.
So the thing is that the last thing I'll say on it, well, I say that maybe not, but if you're somebody in that situation that you just described, and you really want to continue to keep your tickets, you're going to find a way to keep them. If it means that much to you, you'll find the money. Yeah, if you get priced out now and it's too expensive, then that's just yeah, like you said, like kind of what you said a moment ago. That sucks, but Like, how much does it mean to you, I guess, is the question. And, I mean, I've never thought that I needed season tickets to OU. It's just not, if I can go to a game here and there, great. I've been very, very fortunate this season to go to a lot of them. And honestly, for not very much money, just lucky. I mean, relationships, connections, you get lucky, you get a free ticket here and there. But also, you and I, we paid. I have also paid for the tickets this year, and the Tennessee tickets were not cheap.
Yeah, I've always I mean, I've spent tens of thousands of dollars in my life going to OU games, traveling to OU games, and the whatnot.
Yeah,
and so but it
good.
means a lot to me. It means a lot to me. It's something that I'm willing to do, and so, it's the whole stuff is not ideal, but they're gonna have to make some trade-offs if they want to get to where they're gonna where they need to go. And OU's not Ohio State. They're not. Unfortunately, that's just not the case. And they're gonna have to. If OU wants to win national championships, they're gonna have to accept some trade-offs of some other things.
And that'll close the book on our National Signing Day discussion for 2026 class.
Yeah, I hope the class is really good. I hope there's guys, who are just as impactful as true freshmen as Michael Fasusi, Ryan Foje, and Cortland Guillory have been.
And Jaden Jackson was.
And Jaden Jackson.
Any more? Any other guys? Yeah, those are the main ones. Yeah. Cool. All right, what's next?
I think it's conference championship week. We're onto the pick segment, baby. And for people who have stuck around, I appreciate it. We're about to reward you we're gonna do a solid 25 to 30 minutes on the Sun Belt Championship game between Troy and James Madison.
It's about time.
James Madison, yeah. Lee, the floor is yours. Tell me everything you need. Tell us everything that you know about the Dukes of James Madison, whose head coach is now residing, I believe, in Pasadena at UCLA.
Well, I mean, it's Westwood is where the school is, but yeah, they play in.
You're right.
Pasadena.
They play in Pasadena. Actually, no, I don't think they do anymore. I think UCLA is relocating to the was it the SoFi Stadium where the
really?
Where the Rams and Chargers play. Anyway, I'm just kidding. We're not really going to talk about the Sun Belt Championship game. James Madison is a 23.5-point favorite. We may see, you never know, in 2.5 weeks, we may be watching James Madison lose by 5 touchdowns to Georgia in the first round of the college football playoff. Maybe. I don't know.
And they lost their coach. Last I heard, he's going to stick around and coach through the playoff or coach for the championship. And same with Tulane's coach, I guess, who's going. Where's he going again? Where's Tulane's coach going? Oh, Florida.
Florida.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm quite a little shocked that maybe we should. Have we talked about Lane? Did we talk about Lane Kiffin on Sunday? I can't even.
No.
Whatever. I don't know. It's really easy to win a national championship at LSU, so I'm sure Lane Kiffin probably will win one there.
He might. Yeah.
He might. I do. But yeah, the one hire that I feel very strongly about, and admittedly, this is a low com denom take. I'll just own it. But convince me why Florida did not just hire Billy Napier 2.0. They even look and speak the same way.
My rebuttal is I feel like, obviously Willie Fritz has a big role in Tulane's revitalization. But gosh, why can't I think of his name? Summerall. I think Tulane is a much more polished school and has a lot more resources than where was it? Louisiana Monroe, I think he was coming from. Napier. So that would be my argument.
Oh no, Napier I think was Troy? Maybe.
Or was it Louisiana? I think it was just Louisiana.
Oh, it was just Louisiana.
Lafayette.
It was the Raging Cajuns.
Yeah. I get that they're both, that's in Louisiana. There's 2 Louisiana schools, but because Tulane has resources. I mean, they're in New Orleans. It's in New Orleans. I think historically, back in the day, I think Tulane was pretty good at football. So I think there's some tradition there. And they moved around. They got that stadium off campus. They're not playing in where the Saints played, and they did so. There's some buy-in there. And after Willie Fritz left, the program has still been really healthy and good. So that would be my argument that maybe he's a little more better, a little better off than Billy Napier.
I think my argument against him would be I think Tulane has, relative to their competition and the talent level that they have compared to everyone else in that conference, I think Tulane has underachieved the last 2 years. Um, we can dunk on Duke playing in the ACC championship game all we want. You've seen Darren Minson has had a terrific season for Duke, and how about this? Tulane lost to Oklahoma last year. They had Darian Mensah. Like I don't know. I mean, I think that's I kind of have a feeling. I think Florida might be going through like an extended dark ages period. I don't think Summerall's the guy. He just doesn't. He doesn't come off
Yeah.
to me as a guy who is going to be super successful there. But I will tell you the one school that just made just a freaking home run hire was Kentucky getting Will Stein. What a great hire that is for them.
I think he's a local guy. He used to coach there, so that helps. So I mean and they moved from Mark Stoops real fast. So like they clearly had a plan, and that had been discussed. How about me? I mean, I'm not a big Penn State fan, but man, it's just an absolute mess over there. I mean, they still don't have a coach as far as I know.
It's gonna be Matt Campbell. I think it's gonna be Matt Campbell. They've like it's clear. I think we can pretty safely say at this point in time that when they fired Franklin a couple of months ago, that they were going after Sig. Like that's who they wanted, and like it had to have been. Why else would you?
I mean, clearly they were trying to go after one of these guys that were. I don't know why they ever would have left to go to Penn State, wherever they. I mean, you've heard Kalen DeBoer's name come up in some. It's like, I mean, watch tomorrow. Kalen DeBoer leaves Alabama
I will say, like, Kalen DeBoer. Every single time they show a shot of him on the sidelines, he looks miserable. Like he looks like I kept saying, like I think I was texting during the Alabama game a couple weeks ago. Like one of the things that like made me feel great about the game, like oddly, was that every single time that they cut over to Kalen DeBoer, he looked so uncomfortable and like he was confused every single time. And I was like, this is making me feel really good about OU's chances to win this game. DeBoer, he just doesn't. What if it's one of the things where he's just not a fit there? And he just doesn't like it.
I mean, yeah.
And like I've said, like I thought that Alabama team last year underachieved big time. Alabama last year is better than this year's team, and I think they underachieved. And it's not like he's done a terrible job there, but it's tough to follow Nick Saban, but I did think like it was, man, like them going after, like them striking out on Kehlani Sataki, like that is like Penn State down bad, man. Like that is Sataki had to be like eighth or ninth on their board probably.
Like when I saw his name come up, I was like, really? That's where we're at? And then Sataki parlays it to his credit into a nice little raise at BYU. So that's what a great life it is to be a college football coach, man, head coach when you're in these.
I think Penn State
positions.
now needs to take a flyer on a coordinator, like a really good coordinator, and just say, hey, come in, modernize everything, make our offense like really fun and interesting, and we're only going to pay you $3 million a year, but here's a ton of money for NIL and for like the transfer portal and everything. I think that's their best bet. Or go down the road and just hire a good football coach. Go get Casey Keeler. Good football coach.
I mean, honestly, they're on pace now to be potentially settle for their interim head coach right now, Terry Smith. I mean,
maybe that would be the smart thing where they're just like, hey, like, yeah, we're just gonna try again next year.
That, or do they see if Brian Daboll wants to be a head coach at Penn State?
I was talking to a buddy at work today who graduated from Penn State, and he brought up Daboll too. I think that actually would be a pretty good hire for them. If I'm Daboll, I wouldn't ever want to come back to college because that sounds awful. I mean, coaching college football is really hard. It's a lot easier in the NFL. But I like, even with Daboll, like I know he got fired from the Giants, but like the Giants offense, even when he got fired, was like really good with Jackson Dart. Like he was clearly doing a good job like on that side of the ball.
I think he's a good offensive guy. I think he's taken a bit of a hit though over time. because he was the one at first that seemed like he had helped Josh Allen get really good, and it turns out I think Josh Allen just got good, and he's still good. So for a few years I thought Brian Daboll was the reason why Josh Allen improved so much. Like, man, this guy knows his stuff, and I'm not quite sure. I mean, I don't. Yeah, who knows? It's whatever. Penn State, and then there's yeah, we still haven't talked about Lane. I mean, so the thing about Lane, I know we're going long, but I get it when the news happened and the whole thing came out and like Lane wanted to keep coaching and obviously Ole Miss was like, no, I don't want that. Like, I get both sides. And if I'm in an Ole Miss administrative position, I suppose it's probably impossible to allow him to stay on just because of like just the optics of it. But man, to me,
it's not just the optics.
I think it's the optics because to me, it's like if he wants to stay, like it's all about the players, man, and like they're going to be down bad without him.
I think there's one angle of this that you haven't considered yet. Maybe you have, and I'm not, so I'll say this out loud, but you're really going to let the head coach of your second biggest rival be in that building for a month, absolutely trying to poach your roster to LSU? Because that would absolutely happen.
No, I get it, and
you can't do that. You can't allow that.
But that's going to happen anyways. I mean, he's going to try to get guys anyways. And my thing is, but that's like it's easier in my shoes to say it, but you're Ole Miss. I mean, you may not have a better chance to win a national title except for now. So in my mind, it's like, well, that's a big reason why. And without Lane Kiffin, they ain't going to win it. So, and even with them, they probably aren't going to win it. But that's kind of my thoughts. Like, man, I know that you're mad, but he was there for what, 6 years? I mean, that's a decent amount of time to be like especially for Lane Kiffin. It's not like he was there for a year or two and it's bouncing, man. Like he gave him some decent. I think Ole Miss good time.
I think Ole Miss folks have every right to be furious with Lane Kiffin. I mean, it's like think of like Ole Miss pulled Lane Kiffin from FAU. Man, you're coaching at FAU, and like nobody, like this whole circus the last 2 weeks of like the Willie or won't we type thing, like you tell like Lane Kiffin is absolutely responsible for all of that stuff. Like it's like that whole thing turned into a circus. It's like Lane Kiffin, I think, relishes that stuff. And that's just kind of he is who he is. And it is like, but and I like this whole ordeal has like reminded me of like that he's a pretty big clown, which is why he is perfect for LSU, a clown program and institution who's wins a lot. And so I think it's probably like a match made in heaven. And we'll see. I want to say Ole Miss just going on hiring Pete Golding. That's a bad hire. That's not like maybe that's their best bet for giving them the best shot of making like a run in the playoff. But long term, that's not going to work out. That's a bad hire.
I want to remind everyone that Pete Golding was on my short list of defensive coordinators I wanted OU to hire after they fired Mike Stoops. He was like my number one guy. And then he went to Alabama.
He's a good DC. He's good. So, trying to think the other one. Alex Golesh going to Auburn. That's whatever. He's a hypel guy, which means they're going to run that offense, which is going to like put a really hard ceiling on what Auburn can do. But they might have a really good offense and be fun every now and then.
Yeah, I don't have any thoughts on that. And I honestly had never even heard of Arkansas's new head coach until he got hired. So I guess he was at Memphis, the most recent Memphis head coach who always seemingly is there for a year or two and then goes to a bigger job. So
Memphis, I think, was in the preseason the last 2 years was the group of 5 favorite to make the playoff, and they crashed and burned both times. So yeah, I don't know. Arkansas, like I'm sure there's a lot of really great Arkansas fans who probably don't deserve the way that football program has been treated and taken care of by the administration.
Yeah, Arkansas administration saw Memphis go ahead and come back and win a miraculous game against Arkansas back in September, and they were like, man, that's our guy. That's our guy right there. And then Oklahoma State's hire seems like on paper pretty good. for OSU.
Real good hire for them. Yeah. So
Good for that guy.
and
I mean, that's
Oklahoma State has money. They're like Oklahoma State's ceiling is, competing for the Big 12 championship every single season, which means, that would mean they're competing for the playoff every single year. I thought it was a good hire. They went out and they got a guy who right now is mainly responsible for what is like, I mean, per SP Plus, number one offense in college football. Do they actually have the best offense in college football? No way. No way they do. But the numbers are quite impressive there.
Eric Morris. For a second, I was thinking it was Eric Taylor, the same name as Friday Night Lights coach. Which have been too on the nose. Which, in the show, of course, he goes and coaches college towards the end of that, and then I think ends up coming back to high school. One of my favorite, I think there's a column out there that was written obviously years ago because that show came out in the mid 2000s, but about how Eric Taylor's actually a really bad coach. Like the way how the team's always down at the end of the game, and they always have to have a miraculous play to win, and I always found that to be fun because just watching the show, I remember thinking like, I know he's like the main character, but he's not the best football coach. He's got some blind spots. What a show.
But his relationship with his wife was just so realistic, though, Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Let's make our picks and get out of here.
Yeah, okay. So there are 4 conference championship games that are not going to be part of our pick segment. The aforementioned Sun Belt Championship with James Madison and Troy. Hey, Kennesaw State is a 2.5-point favorite on the road in the Conference USA Championship game. Guess Kennesaw State not really missing Carson Kent, or wasn't the punter also supposed to be before Grayson Miller while he pipped him super hard?
Yeah,
Ulrich, right. Jacob Ulrich. Sorry, man. Like could barely remember your name. That sucks for you. I'm sorry, bro.
That's so mean.
UNLV is on the road at Boise State in the Mountain West Championship game. I guess there is sort of like an outside shot if Troy were to beat James Madison, Duke were to beat Virginia, that the winner of that game will be in the college football playoff. And then our favorite, the MAC Championship, Miami of Ohio and Western Michigan.
Of course.
So
yes.
I have no thoughts on any of those games. Let's head to the picks. Lee, I finally got off the schneid last week. I had a 4-1 week. You have continued your late season slide. You had a 1-4 week. Just a tough. Yeah, you and I think we were crossfire on 4 games, and or 3 or 4 games, and I won all of them, and you lost all of them, and so that makes me feel good. So we're a lot closer. You're 33-37 for the season. I am 32-38. I am 1 game behind you. Very first game we are going to pick today, the AAC championship game. The winner of this game will be in the college football playoff. This game's on Friday night at 7 p.m. on ABC. Getting the big. It's getting the big 3-letter network. That's big for the AAC championship game. North Texas is on the road at Tulane, but they are a 2.5-point favorite. Lee, I am going to roll with the mean green here. I think North Texas is just kind of outside of one weird game where they got kind of run by USF in the middle of the season at home. They've handled their AAC schedule pretty easily this season. Give me Eric Morris's squad.
Yep. Give me North Texas. If it was Tulane 3, I'd take Tulane plus the 3, but it's under 3, so give me North Texas.
All right. Also, another sort of storyline of that game, coached by 2 guys who will not be coaching them next season. So I think that's sort of but also I think that's going to be, in this day and age, if you're a G5 team that's in the conference championship game, your coach is probably going to get poached by a Power 4 team at this stage. It's going to be a trend, I think, in college football. All right, 11 a.m. Central Time on Saturday morning, also on the 3-letter network, ABC. BYU is a 12.5-point underdog against Texas Tech. I believe this game is played at Jerry World in Dallas, as the Big 12 championship game always is now. The BYU and Texas Tech played, like 3 or 4 weeks ago? That game, I believe College Game Day was there, and that game was not competitive at all. Kind of reminded, it's like that game was like a lot like the OU South Carolina game, where it was just like one team just had zero chance of really getting the ball past midfield the entire time. I think Texas Tech is going to handle them relatively easily again. I will take the Red Raiders.
All right, I'll take BYU plus the 12.5. They just re-signed Kalani Sitake. They're going to be all happy and everything, eating their cookies and whatnot. Give me the 12.5. Weird number. I don't like that number. It's kind of a dead number. But
yeah, I don't like that number. I think if you take Texas Tech there, you're essentially like, because that's a weird like game script number too. Like you're basically like, yeah, I think Texas Tech's going to win by 3 or 4 scores again. So right after that game, also on ABC, man, ABC has got like got quite the triple header here.
Sure.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Georgia.
Sure do.
Georgia's a 2.5-point favorite in a rematch against Alabama. This game is in Atlanta for the SEC championship game. Lee, I'm going to take the Dogs to get revenge on Alabama. I think it was a game that I think, even though that game was in Athens, sort of a game that Alabama, I think, was a little fortunate to come out and win that game. Give me Georgia, who is also playing really well right now. Give me them to get revenge on the Tide.
Yeah, Georgia seems to be hitting their stride at the right time, but I'll take Alabama. I think Alabama's going to win. Well, I'd like to have the 3, but
there is an interesting. I heard this. I believe it was on the Solid Verbal earlier this week, and this is something that I hadn't really thought of, but it's definitely interesting. Kirby Smart is like 1-9 against Alabama as the head coach at Georgia.
Huh.
The only win is in the national championship game in 21.
Jeez, that's wild. But yeah, you can make the argument. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm actually kind of rethinking my pick because Alabama seemingly is not playing their best football, and Georgia's starting seemingly playing their best type of football right now. So,
both of these teams, I do not think are the best team in the SEC. I think the best team in the SEC is Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin as their head coach this year.
They should have beaten Georgia. Shouldn't have blown that game against Georgia. I won't second guess myself, but I'll keep it with Alabama. But I don't feel as good about it.
Actually, no, I think the best team in the SEC is Texas when they play in the Cotton Bowl. That's the best team in the SEC. But I digress. That's not actually a metric.
That's not happening this week.
All right. The capper of the triple header on ABC, the game that everyone's going to be tuning in and watching. The ACC championship game. Your Duke Blue Devils are only a 3.5-point underdog to the 17th ranked Virginia Cavaliers. Chandler Morris's Virginia Cavaliers. Oh gosh, man. I don't know. I guess I'll take UVA here. I guess, but I still kind of think like Duke is going to win this game.
Yeah, give me the dog. Give me the 3.5. Give me Duke. It's too weird.
Yeah, I'm going to take UVA just because
they're either going to get ran or they're going to win.
Gosh, man, Duke lost to UConn like 2 weeks ago. I have found the discussion surrounding the ACC's tiebreaker format to be pretty amusing over the last week or so, because it's such a terrible system. Like here's the deal. If there's more than 2 teams that are tied, it should always be who is ranked higher in the college football playoff rankings. Always. Pretty easy way to do it, guys. Like just so they're going down. It's like this is the 5th, or I don't know if it's the 5th tiebreaker. It's one of the first, but yeah, like ACC opponent win percentage, and there you go. You got a Duke team that went 1-3 in the non-conference, playing in.
Yeah, pretty strategic losses by Duke this year. They really. I mean, they lost a lot, but they lost all the right ones apparently.
Darian Mensah, I guess, was worth every single penny for the Blue Devils. All right. I think the game of the day, maybe the game of the century in Bloomington, Indiana. Also at 7 p.m. on Fox. Number 1 versus number 2. Ohio State is a 4.5-point favorite over Kurt Cignetti's Indiana Hoosiers. This game is played in Indianapolis, which, Lee, I'm not sure if you know this or not, but Indianapolis is in the state of Indiana. which is also where the University of Indiana resides. So I'm curious I'm assuming it'll probably I'm assuming that Ohio State will probably have more people there, and it's just it's a you know bigger school, bigger alumni, bigger, like they travel. But I don't think it's going to be like a blowout in that sense. I would assume that a lot of Indiana people will be there, seeing as that is the flagship school of the state. Lee, I'm going to roll with your guy Sig. I'm going to take Indiana plus 4.5, and I'm actually going to take them outright. I think the Hoosiers are going to spring the upset on Ohio State on Saturday.
Numbers change. It's down to 4 now, and on ESPN. But I agree. I'll take Indiana. But it's simply just you're giving me 4 points with Sig and the Hoosiers. But man, this? Hopefully, we're getting closer and closer to this upcoming weekend not happening. Like these games should not be happening. They don't matter. This game doesn't matter, and it's so weird that they got to play it because these are the two best teams in college football playing in what is effectively it's a game they're playing for seeding. Who's going to be the 1 seed? Who's going to be the 2 seed? And the thing that actually does matter, which is the playoff. And I love how it seems like the tide has been shifting, and as we've gone now to 12, it's only year 2 of 12 teams. But all the people, like over time, like you and I, we've always been wanting more and more teams. And there's always every single year in this podcast, there's people pushing back. And now people are realizing, oh, this is actually pretty fun. More teams are involved. More teams have things to play for. And now I'm starting to kind of slowly hear more people like talk about how these conference title games should go away. And go back to 2017, man. This kind of stuff we were way ahead of this on this podcast. And nobody else is talking about this. And this is all, to me, it was so obvious and easy. And yet we're getting there, and it's now, and people are realizing, oh, this is better. And it is obvious, and it is easy. So all I'm trying to say here is I should be the commissioner of college football because clearly I know more about it than everybody else does.
I'm gonna push back on you to say that this game is
no, you can't.
Is meaningless. I don't. I do think you got, Ohio State is what I mean. They haven't lost since Michigan last year, but they didn't win the Big Ten last year, and it's not like these two teams played each other. Like this is a legit conference championship game. They're both undefeated. They did not play in the regular season, and Indiana is the losingest program in the history of college football. Like them being here and them actually playing in their home state for a chance to win the Big Ten over the defending national champion, who is also the number 1 team and is undefeated. I think that's a big deal. I think that's another reason why I think if Indiana loses this game, they are going to be real prime for an upset in the Rose Bowl to get beat. Where it's like, I think in some ways, and this is a little bit of a harebrained take, but like in some ways, I think this game is more important to them than any playoff game, which is why I kind of think it's going to be Indiana's game. Whereas I'm telling you right now, I think Ohio State's going to lose this game, and I think they're still going to win the national championship.
No, I mean, yes, you're right. I agree with you. Indiana is certainly, I mean, the players they care about this. I'm not going to say like they don't care about it. Like they're going to want to win. They're preparing. They want to win it and everything. But just to be more precise, in the grand scheme of things, because the most important thing is the national title, in my opinion, if they're playing for seeding. And I mean, I see what you're saying. If Indiana loses and they could, we finally lost and now we're going to doubt ourselves and we might get upset. Maybe. But I mean, that could have happened whether they play the game or not. So, I mean, yeah, you're right.
I'm a big, like, it still means something that even like with the playoff and everything, and it's not going to be able to, be the case every single year. I still think it means something that you win the Big Ten, you get to go play in the Rose Bowl. And that's what they're playing for in this game. And you're right. The loser of this game is going to be the 2 or the 3 seed in the playoff, and which is effectively the same thing because you're going to be playing, you'd be playing the same team anyway. So,
I mean, they should be both the loser should be the 2 seed. I don't think I mean, they've been 1-2 all year. I don't think you should.
I think it'd be pretty tough. Like if Georgia wins, Georgia would be 12-1 and be the SEC champion. When especially it doesn't matter where they play. Like they'd still play. It's whoever, if Georgia wins, actually, I can pretty much just say it. The loser of this game is going to play the SEC champion in a semifinal, if that's what it comes down to.
All right. Well, we're both on Indiana. Yeah, I'm going to watch it, obviously. Curious to see what happens, but it's just, I don't know. It's a potential. I mean, I guess it could be a matchup in the playoff, too, depending on how things go. And that's kind of why it's like, man, we could see
I think
this.
you could only in the national championship game if the loser is the 2 or 3, that's how they should have it. Like, you don't want these two teams on the same side of the bracket.
No. All right. Looking forward to a 5-0 week. Can't believe I'm under 500 for the season. That's just brutal.
Yeah, that's real bad on your part. You're gonna have to get back into the workshop here for the bowl season and try to just figure it out.
That's just the odds makers are too good, man. Had them figured out for the first, 6-7 weeks or so, and this picking games humbles you, man. That's why being a pro sports bettor, a lot of them are grifty grifters. They ain't good because it's damn near impossible to make money doing this. Ooh. All right, what else we got?
It's the end of the show. This is how we've been doing this 9 seasons. This is always how we end our show, our midweek shows.
This is part 1, right? We'll have part 2. Just kidding.
Goodness.
So what do we do? I suppose we need to. We'll probably have a show on Sunday because they're going to do the.
And
reveal.
I don't know if it's. I don't think it's going to be a. I would guess that show will just be a, hey, this is who Oklahoma is playing on either, Friday or Saturday in late December, or and then also like, hey, yeah, did you watch those conference championship games? That was fun. That was cool. All right, see you later.
Because what they always announce it like at 11 a.m. or something.
It'll be 11 because they're not going to want to go against the NFL, so it'll be 11 a.m. Central Time, that show, and I'm sure we were not actually going to know any information until like 11:45 probably because they're just going to drag that thing out.
They'll tell you in the first 15 minutes, I bet. They know that's BS. And then they'll save the last, 35, 40 for dumb interviews with people because they're going to have all the reporters at all these different locations, and it's going to be, they're going to do that whole thing.
I do remember last year though. We'll see if they've corrected this. But I remember last year they made like a fundamental mistake where they counted down from 12 to reveal everybody. So they went like 12, 11, 10. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, everybody already knows who the top like 8 teams are. Why are you? And it's great for the audience. It's like, oh, sweet. We know exactly who's in it. We don't have to wait. But like, also it's like, you guys going to try to build some drama here or like,
well, typically they do that. I guess maybe I wasn't paying attention last year because I probably didn't care.
No, last year they started from the top or from the bot or however you want to say it. 12, 11, 10.
It seems like they always, back when we watched all the time, they would always save like the most dramatic reveal or whatever the biggest question was for the end. Anyways, well, I'm sure they'll do it again. All right. Any final thoughts?
Nope.
Okay. All right, guys. We'll be back on Sunday to talk about who the heck OU will be playing in the college football playoff because we're just, I really don't see how they're not going to be in there based on this latest poll. So.
They're in. There's no scenario where they are left out.
If so, oh boy. Well, we have a show for you. Until then, for Grant, I'm Lee. This is West of Everest. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to the show. And if you want to help us spread the word, please leave us a 5-star review. And also, tell all of your friends who are OU fans about West of Everest. You can listen to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and SoundCloud.